my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, which will, you are warned, contain some spoilers from last night's AEW Dynamite. Timeless Toni Storm is finished. We've got an update on WWE bringing back retro title belts. We've got a change of plans, seemingly, for Goldberg and his retirement. And of course, WWE reacts to the Rey Fenix controversy. I'm Andy, that's an empty chair. No Adam today, but he'll be here later on. Don't worry, it's all good. Solo news. Haven't done this in a while. And like I said in the intro, spoilers for AEW Dynamite coming right up. There's your warning. Let's do the story. Toni Storm's back, and she's not timeless anymore. This happened at the end. Sorry, I didn't do the thing. This is the news. There we go. See what happens when Adam's not here, man. I get all higgledy-piggledy, as they say in the business, all confused.com. Anyway, AEW star Toni Storm, she's back in business, back on the map. She's brought back her old bloody gimmick. She's a rocker again, and she is timeless no more. This happened at the end of last night's episode of Dynamite. It was her nemesis, Mariah May, successfully defending the AEW Women's World Championship against Mina Shirakawa in something of a grudge match. I mean, they only turned on each other 2 weeks ago, but you know, they settled it now because Mina's got dates in Japan and they couldn't put it on the pay-per-view, so fair enough. But yeah, Mariah's celebrating, she's in the ring, her dominance over the division looks all but secured, and then Toni's old music hits that Mariah had of course been using before turning on Toni. You get the guitar riff, all of that stuff. And she walks out in her old garb. There's no black and white filter on the screen. There's no gown. There's no Hollywood starlet running around the place and being all ostentatious and over the top. It's just Toni Storm, as you know her, in the black and red gear, wearing her hat, looking pretty emotional, actually. It looked like she was welling up. So, good for her. Nice moment. There wasn't any physical contact between the two. They just kind of, Toni was on the ramp and Mariah was in the ring and they just stared each other down. But I guess they're going to be building towards that match at some point in the near future. World's End pay-per-view is right around the corner. Maybe they'll look at that at the end of December. But yeah, maybe that's a little bit too soon. I don't know. We'll see how this gets built to on TV. But yeah, we haven't seen Toni since Wembley, of course, when she lost an excellent grudge match to Mariah and dropped the Women's World Championship. So she's been gone for like 4 months. She, of course, she's done a bunch of really weird interviews in the interim where she talked about a lot of things that we probably shouldn't repeat, but she also claimed that she was retiring. So I guess we know now that maybe she was talking about retiring the timeless character rather than just outright retiring, because of course she wasn't retiring from she's like 28 or something, unless she had some like crazy unseen injury or just didn't like doing this anymore. Very unlikely that she was retiring, but good for her. It's good to have her back. I think that, you know, the timeless character connected with a lot of people. It was frequently extremely funny. Watch out for the shoe will live forever in the back of my head. And you know, early on, while she was figuring out maybe a couple of bumps in the road, maybe a few things that didn't quite make sense, but I think she really started nailing it and really nailed the promo style in particular. And also, it was just something a bit different on AEW TV and wrestling TV in general. Who's ever seen a gimmick like that? Where with the black and white filter and all these things. Of course, people have used filters on cameras in the past, but I thought it was a pretty unique packaging of Toni, and the promos were absolutely unhinged in the best possible way. So yeah, I will miss the character a little bit, but if she wants to play up the idea, because they were doing the whole All About Eve movie parallel storyline where Mariah was a super fan of this great film star Toni Storm, if they kind of want to evolve the storyline away from that movie aesthetic, and now Mariah is not the crazy super fan anymore, she's her own person, it does make sense to kind of put a stake in the old gimmick, or in the timeless gimmick, and bring back the old one. So let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Also, plug alert, check this hoodie out. It's nice, isn't it? Nice big yellow print on the chest. If you like this and you just like cool things that are purple and yellow predominantly, check out our new merch store. It's back in business, WhatCulture.com/shop. You can get all these things on the back, as well as a whole bunch more. We got some podcast exclusive merch, we got hoodies, we got t-shirts, we got mugs, we got hats, we got beanies. Lots of cool stuff over there. We ship globally. Yes, we are based in the UK, but if you are based in the US and you want to order, don't worry, there is fulfillment over there. It will not take 5 weeks to get there, and it will not cost you $50 to import it or anything like that. Global shipping, lots of great stuff on the shop, whatculture.com/shop. All right. The shilling is over. It's on to the next story, which I have forgotten. Oh yes, WWE bringing back retro title belts. So, if you are a wrestling fan of a certain vintage, I am. I mean, look how old I am. You have a certain fondness for old school title belts, like the Winged Eagle, like the Big Gold Belt, all that stuff. Last night, they uploaded, Triple H and Cody Runnels, that scamp, they uploaded a little video where Triple H had something for Cody ahead of Saturday night's main event, which is of course going to be a pretty retro themed show this weekend. They opened a little box, it was glowing gold, and the implication was that in that box was the Winged Eagle belt, or an old title belt. Well, Fightful Selector followed up with a report kind of on the back of this, stating that Cody Rhodes and a number of talent in WWE have apparently lobbied for the return of classic belt designs. That's why apparently the new tag team titles, or the current tag team titles, have more of a classic look to them. So this is a pretty interesting story. Now, of course, the modern WWE belt design is just the big flippin' logo right on the front, brother. There's not much intricacy to it. It's just WWE in your face, mother effer. But that's by design. That's by design. It's so that when, say, Cody Rhodes goes on TV and he has the belt, or they give the belts to like whoever wins the Super Bowl or the baseball or whatever, you immediately see the brand, WWE. It's not like with these more intricate, I thought we had a belt somewhere here. I don't know what happened to that. But with these more intricate belt designs, you don't immediately see the logo, so the branding isn't as strong. So it's like a marketing thing. You instantly see WWE in your face. It can't possibly be anything else. Whereas if you're like someone who doesn't watch wrestling and you see Cody Rhodes with the Winged Eagle belt, you might be like, oh, is he a boxer, UFC, something like that? So I understand why they do it. I understand the process and why they think this is like good marketing, and it is. But man, those old belts are just so much prettier. They're so much nicer to look at. And if you're a crusty old dude who remembers like this stuff and yearns for a bit of nostalgia, we all love a bit of nostalgia. These like things like the Winged Eagle, they make you feel good. They make you feel happy seeing them. So. I imagine that the Code Man is probably going to just have that for like one night, maybe, on Saturday night's main event when he wrestles Kevin Owens and then loses it to him. But I can't really see them doing away with the big W because, Jesus, what am I doing? I can't see them doing away with that because of the promotional value of it. But yeah, a bit of nostalgia's fun, and the old belts, they just look a bit nicer, don't they, across the boards. Right, let's move over to, speaking of old... Sorry, Goldberg, that was really mean. I love Goldberg. Yes, there seems to have been a bit of a change of plans with him and his retirement run in WWE. So we know he's coming back. We know he's wrestling next year. WWE have announced that. He's going to have a retirement match, all of that stuff. That is still on the cards. But they have pivoted away from rumored plans of a Gunther match, it seems. So this was speculated heavily because they've had that in-ring confrontation this year, of course, where Gunther was just really smarmy and said, hey, I always preferred Bret Hart. Bret Hart, of course, is a huge fan of Goldberg, so, you know, it all adds up. And that led to some speculation that maybe they were going to run Goldberg versus Gunther. And you think, hey, Goldberg, old dude, probably needs to be in there with like a really good worker. Gunther is one of the best in the business, so maybe that's a good pairing for the two of them. But it seems WWE have moved away from that. This is according to Viper of PW Nexus. The phrasing was may have moved away from Gunther versus Goldberg that they were originally interested in. They do note here in the report that Goldberg is expected to have 1 or 2 matches before retiring. So you'd imagine Goldberg retiring. If he's having 2, he'll probably squash someone, right? The Dolph Ziggler format from a couple of years ago, which was good. He just kicked his ass. 2 minutes. Maybe Austin Theory or someone can eat that. I know that a lot of people won't like that suggestion, but I think it'd be funny. And then maybe he'll put someone over on the way out. I can see why they would want to go with someone like Gunther, who is a world champion and like, you know, going to be a fixture of the main events for years and years. Honestly, I would do Braun Breaker. I would still do Braun Breaker. You've got the old Master of the Spear versus the new Master of the Spear. What could be a more powerful way of elevating Braun Breaker, assuming he's not winning the Rumble or anything next year, than beating Goldberg very quickly and decisively? Because, look, I'm a Goldberg super fan, but like I don't need more than 2 or 3 minutes, brother. I think I'm good on going longer than that. But hey, let me know who you'd have Goldberg face in the comment section below. Would you have him face anybody? I understand why people don't like Goldberg. Don't get me wrong. I understand why people don't want to see him, but you know, the Spear's kind of goated, so whatever. Maybe Gage will get in the ring. I don't know. Maybe he'll be the new Dominic Mysterio or something. I mean, that's a pretty high bar to label the kid with. Hey, look, it's Goldberg. He's bald. Esteemed member of the community. Right. A bit of room in the bald community at the moment, actually. We just kicked Greg Wallace's ass out, so screw that guy. Anyway, let's wrap this one up by talking about a familiar topic, Rey Fenix. Chaos in that man's life at the moment, at least in terms of his career. But we're talking about the WWE perspective of this whole mess now. So, if you've not been following this story, Rey Fenix seemingly wants out of AEW. He's injured, he's had time added onto his contract, upwards of a year. His brother Penta, he's left. The belief is they're going to WWE. Penta could do that tomorrow if he wanted to because his contract's expired. Phoenix is still there. He's being held, injury time added on. He's tweeted a bunch of stuff. He said he was a victim of inhumane treatment. He alluded to not being tended to by a doctor when he was injured for several months. So he's tweeted a bunch of stuff now. He has deleted all of these now, apart from one that reads, "I will have my chance to speak the truth." He's alluded to not being able to talk about things. Maybe there's some legal NDA or something. I have no idea. That's the thing about this situation. Is so many half-truths at the moment, right? There's been some reports, but they're all like, they're pretty vague, and it's more like people's backstage perspectives on them, like people being surprised and stuff like that. There's nothing concrete. So I still think it's way too early to jump to the defense of AEW or jump to the defense of Rey Fenix. Like, what the hell's going on? There's nothing concrete out there. We need to withhold judgment on this. But WrestleVotes have come through with a new report on their Backstage Pass podcast, just talking about WWE's reaction to this whole thing, because they are rumored to be signing the Lucha Brothers, but they obviously are monitoring this because what's going on? Apparently they've been surprised by Rey's tweets, and he has since deleted most of those. Apparently WWE are still interested in him, but they have some eyebrows raised when he put all of that stuff out there publicly. So apparently WWE is going to do some digging. They're getting their spades out. They're going down the mines, and they're going to try and find the truth from this situation. They're going to do some digging, and they want to get a pulse on, here's the exact phrasing, what may or may not be going on over there with Rey Fenix. So yeah, I mean, me and you both, Mr. WWE, this is a whole ass mess of a thing. I imagine that it's, you know, it's not one that seems like it's going to be resolved anytime soon. I know there was the report, whoa, dropped my phone almost. I knew there was the report the other day where it was like at one point Toni and AEW and Rey Fenix were maybe coming to an agreement or maybe going to release him early from his deal. I can't imagine that if I'm Toni or AEW and I see these tweets, I'm hastening that. But at the end of the day, I'm not someone who's in favor of holding wrestlers on time added on through injury. Yeah, there are certain situations where maybe you want to look after someone, right? But if someone wants out and you're adding time on because they've been hurt, I don't know, man. I think that's a little step too far. Case by case basis, always, but in this situation, I would just let him go. I just don't think there's any point in keeping unhappy people around, right? If you have one unhappy person and they speak to another person, that person could become unhappy, and it just kind of spreads. So, I understand Tony Khan and AEW, they probably just don't want wrestlers walking over to WWE, but the company was formed on the basis of being different. It was formed on the idea that it was an alternative and they would do different, they would do business a little differently, and they'd maybe be a little bit more talent friendly, and they are in many, many ways, but like this is an old WWE habit that we've been criticizing for decades and decades and decades, and really, if you want to have the perception of being an alternative brand, of being a challenger brand, of being a PR positive brand, things like this are probably not things you should be indulging in. But look, I'm sure that there is information that I'm not privy to that might change my opinion on that. We'll see. We'll see. You should always be open to having your mind changed. You should always, you should never be completely dogmatic in your stances when it comes to things like pro wrestling, which in the grander schemes aren't as important as some of the other chaotic things going on in the world. At the end of the day, this thing is supposed to be an escape. It's supposed to be a window into a different world. You're supposed to be able to turn on the show for 2 hours or 3 hours on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whenever you watch your wrestling, and escape and get lost in the stories and the characters and the matches and the action. It's not really something that I think you should base too much of your internal viewpoints on these things that are happening backstage. A lot of the time they're interesting, they're fun, and I like covering them. I'm sure you like digging into them as well. But look, wrestling's supposed to make you feel good, man, and if it's not making you feel good, well, what's the purpose? What's the point in even being here? But hey, look, I feel good. Do you feel good? I hope so. Good stuff. You'll feel even better if you get one of these lovely hoodies from the store, whatculture.com/shop. Right there. Look at all those nice products, baby. Thank you for joining me for this solo news video today. There's not a second one coming today, but Simon Miller will be here later on with the ups and downs from AEW Dynamite. In the meanwhile, if you enjoyed this video, my good friends, you're going to really love this Attitude Era feature-length sort of thing, longer video that we put on, deep diving that era and some of the unwritten history. It's very interesting. It's a great piece of work. But hey, thank you for joining me today. I love you. I'll see you later. Bye.